What's going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today we're going to talk to you about PayPal. I want to go over some of the current data points, what's been coming out from the company itself, and go over once again my exit strategy. Before I get into any of that though, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. And on a side note, for those of you that haven't tuned into my previous PayPal videos, I did buy a position. Originally, it was $59. I was doing it for the intention of a swing trade. So my exit strategy at that time was roughly around 62. It was failing to really break out. So I kind of cut my losses, or I took my profits, I guess, if that makes sense. I did rebuy back in at $58.13. So very happy with my position. And once again, this is more so for a swing trade. So I wanted to go over my exit strategy based on the technicals and stuff like that. On Friday, it did go up 0.2%, very volatile day. So 58.83 the low, $60.16 the high. There hasn't been all that much as far as news from the company itself. Rather, it's just been piggybacking off of the data and just the optimism associated to rate cuts. And as of right now, there is a 72% likelihood of a 25 basis point cut for the September 18th meeting. So I think that's going to be the big next catalyst for the broader market, and that could really propel PayPal and many other stocks significantly higher. But the next big thing as well, specific to PayPal, aside from this Fed meeting in September, is going to be their earnings, and that is slated for July the 30th. Closer to that date, I can do a dedicated video about some expectations and stuff like that, but leading into their earnings, analysts aren't as optimistic as they once were. But beside the point though, doesn't mean that you can't make money on PayPal, because as of late, it's been holding the strong support levels like a champ. So I want to go over some of the current data points and stuff like that. I brought this up in the past, definitely not saying that PayPal is a short squeeze play, but right now 2.24% of the free float is being shorted. That is up 9%, so it is increasing slightly, but again, nothing in my opinion to really justify a squeeze or something like that. Just more of a, I think, piggybacking off of broader market feeders. 11 million in calls were purchased on Friday, 3.14 million in puts. Sentiment wise, 50% of all the options being done are optimistic and bullish, and of the call options that are being purchased, there's a consensus for it to be above $62 or $63 next week. So obviously this is why I'm adjusting my exit strategy, because I think right now it bouncing off of a very strong support is really going to propel it higher. And I'll give you a quick overview of everything. So since my last video, there was a couple new ratings coming out. One was a $71 price target buy by James, who does have a 55% success rating. Then aside from that, 6 days ago, hold Wolfie, Darren, who does have a 63% success rating. So no doubtably, once their earnings do come out, then this is where you're going to see this light up like a Christmas tree. As a consensus of all the ratings, $74.50 is the price target, and that does represent a 24.67% upside. So analysts are very optimistic on PayPal, but for their earnings, not so much, because as I did bring up or kind of vaguely showed you, there was a lot of downward revisions for the earnings per share as of late. Doesn't mean that they're not bullish, just not as bullish as they were, if that kind of makes sense. But based on the Elliott Wave technicals, it does have a pivot point of $56.70. So for as long as PayPal is above that, which right now it is, it did bounce off of that general area, it is anticipated to get between that $65 and $67 range. So this is why, like I said, originally it was forecasting around the $62 to $63. So that was my original exit strategy, and as of right now, I'm going to be adjusting it to kind of the lower end, around 65, because as you can kind of see right here, going over some of the fib levels, some of the strong support and resistance points, with it at $59 and change, it is trading between this S1 and the pivot. So 61.18 in the short term is going to be the next strong resistance slash target. 56.94 is going to be that next strong support. So of course, that's also the pivot point roughly for that Elliott Wave technicals, but 65.42 is going to be that next strong resistance above this pivot point right here. So most likely early next week, it is going to be trading between this pivot and this R1, and this is where I do feel that this R1 is going to be touched. In my opinion, up until, or I guess prior to their earnings. I don't see it justified to be above this R1. So this is why I did say that this is going to be my exit strategy. So this is just another quick update on what the data points are saying and everything else. So let me know your thoughts on PayPal. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And with all that, hopefully everyone's having an amazing weekend.